Yes, team. Welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We're back. It's Monday, and we are reviewing what was, well, to date, a bit of an underwhelming game week. But there's
Rubbish.
still hope, Dean, because we've still got Bournemouth, we've still got Luton, we've still got Cole Palmer, and we've still got Newcastle. What do you make of that?
I ain't got Cole Palmer.
I have.
I got Gordon, and I hope he doesn't play because do you know what I did?
Oh no.
I swapped Porro and Bradley over and didn't actually confirm it. And after the deadline, I was looking at my points. I was like, "Hang on, what? What?
You absolute casual.
Oh my god, what a moron!" So I've got 7 points with
7,
Pedro Porro on the bench.
which this week was
Actually,
massive.
no, he's not even coming in because Walker's ahead of him on my subs bench. I'm not getting the 7 Porro points, no matter what. So that is very annoying on a week when so much didn't come off. My 3 Bournemouth players got a total of 4 points.
Who'd you go for?
Neto, Zabanyi, and Solanke as captain.
Thank God for Neto. I mean, I made a last-minute
Literally.
decision on Saturday morning to not go Kirkes, who got 0, and go Neto, who got 3. So I was really happy with that. 3 points was massive this week.
3 points is massive. The average is 30 points. I've got 42 points at the moment, thanks to Son and Gross, but oh my days.
Mate, 2 returns. That's
two,
not, I mean, players
two
with,
decent returns.
yeah,
Honestly, if I had Porro
decent
this
return.
week, if I'd have actually put Porro in my team, like
Yeah.
planned, it was a good week. I'd be on like 51 points, right? And sorry, 49 points right now. Just being like happy days. But que sera, this is where we're at. Yeah, not great, is it?
I mean, there's some in the chat that have had good weeks. British 87, 58 points. Love that. We've got a proud Unai owner from Lungani. What? That is absolutely genius. You knew he weren't going to start and you still picked him? Fair. That is as differential as you'll hear. You must Lungani, you must be the only, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Enez Unai.
Yeah. Yeah.
He must be 0.01% owned. I'm going to have a look, see if the FPL website tells us. That is bold.
Hasn't it?
Did he get bonus points with that goal? I bet he did, because it was a low-scoring game. And when forwards get bonus,
you just thought so.
When forwards score, they often get bonus. So, yeah, he did. He got 9 points.
9 points.
XG of 0.24. XA is not. On the website, he is 0.0% owned. He's not even enough for 0.01.
Oh, my goodness.
0.1. Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, we've got a busy day ahead here. We want to know all about your scores that you got, your mistakes, how you're feeling about your Bournemouth assets. I'm just going up to the top to see what comments we've got coming in and who's in the chat. FPL Down Under, one of the first ones in the room today. Hello to you. British 87 was straight through the door. Stephen Harrison, TSL, ISG. Yeah, thanks guys for all jumping in. Mark Nash here. As always, he said, I saw Lecce's manager was fired for nutting an opposition player at the week. I feel like nutting Dominic Solanke. Should we chat about him, mate? How are we feeling about Dominic Solanke right now?
Do you know what? I don't mind him getting 0. One, because the world and their dog owned him and captained him. So you weren't going to see big greens anyway. It doesn't make any difference. But 2, in FPL, there's some things that are out of your control. As long as you're making the right decisions, you should be happy with yourself. And I know I made the right decision. The guy had a penalty after 11 minutes. That was the right decision to captain him. The guy had a goal disallowed marginally. He was involved. Like, it was the right decision. The outcome was rubbish, but it was the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, it doesn't make any difference. It's like one of those weeks when you've just got Haaland set as captain. Like, everyone's got him anyway. Haaland did play. A lot of people were getting rid of him in here. I see a few people mentioning it right now about the fact that they did swap out Haaland and it paid off.
It did. Horrible watch. Let us know if you sold him, how you felt watching that game. Just knowing you're watching a player who's that good, but also 100% owned pretty much, effective ownership. It's a scary thought. When he was still on goal versus Van Dijk. By the way, why is Van Dijk being lauded so much for that display? Oh, sorry, brilliant game. One of the best centre-backs the league's ever seen. I'm not disputing that. Why is he being lauded for the one-on-one, which saw Haaland get past him and still get a shot on target?
I mean, I think he did. Do you know what? I think it's because there's been moments in the season when Haaland's done that to people and they trip over their own feet and they just collapse in a pile.
Yeah, he has.
It's the hardest player that you can go one-on-one with like that. And Van Dijk managed to stay. It is very, very, very hard to jockey someone at that pace, in that position, exposed one-on-one. And he manages to push him a little wide. In hindsight, I think Haaland will regret.
Onto his left foot, still fairly central.
I mean, you'd argue, say, look, what quality of shot did Haaland get away? Not very high. Like, he'd have probably wanted to hit that low, I reckon, if he was to ideally choose what he was to do with that. Little bit off balance, maybe.
He was a bit off balance, but he didn't hit it clean, did he, at all? But
clean,
I just don't get why he was lauded. I was just like, okay, he got a shot off on target from a reasonable position. He didn't force him out wide, and he put him on his left foot. So, yeah, Van Dijk's amazing, but that was not an amazing piece of centre-back play.
It was one of my favourite moments of the season.
I could have run alongside Haaland and let him have a shot.
I loved it, though. It's very, very rare that you get a head-to-head duel between two of the best players in the world. It just barely ever happens like that. So when it opened up, I was like, yes, we've got it. Like, this is what we wait for.
Popcorn moment.
This is like a title deciding moment. And what you want is a Van Dijk like cruncher, or you want a Haaland hit in the net so that you have a winner out of that duel. In the end, it was neither here nor there. But it felt like a what if moment, didn't it? And I did love to see it open up, but
it was brilliant. It was the way it just fell into place, and it was like, we have 4 seconds now of good like entertainment. Something's going to happen here. And by the way, fella in the chat has said, he said he thought it was like great defending, but he also made a comment about me being a centre back. Where did he say it? I thought he was centre back, Gianni. Amazing defending. Yeah, I am a centre back. And do you know what I'd have done, fella? He'd have been down. He'd have been down. I mean, I would have ended with a broken leg, but Haaland and probably a red card.
What are you doing? A John McGinn style tackle?
If you want to see how I would have treated Haaland there, go back to Gameweek 39, Season 1, and see how I treated Raptor for what should have been an absolute red card, and I didn't even get booked. So yeah, I'd have gone down, fouled him, and then done that to the referee. I got the ball ref and somehow got away with it. If Gameweek 39 was in to go by. Yeah, I think Haaland would have broken my leg if he had gone through it.
Sushant says the KDB Pep back and forth was funny too. It was like a parent consoling his kid. Yeah, it was a little bit like that. It's like if you're the dad of the team and you're also if your son plays for that team and you sub. My dad used to do that to me, actually. He was the manager of when you were like under 11s or whatever.
That's why you played up front.
And he had to, what he'd do, it was really annoying, mate, because I genuinely was one of the best players. And if he would obviously have a couple of kids that weren't as good, and you have to get them on the pitch and give them. And his easiest way out of that was to take me off so that he could bring. So there was nobody annoyed it apart from me. Yeah. I used to get so annoyed when he would do that to me. That is a bit probably how De Bruyne felt yesterday. But do you know what? I think there's two-sided, really. I mean, one, I think Pep did the right thing. I think Kovacic came in and did really well for City, actually. Secondly,
control.
For De Bruyne, I mean, you've got to understand his angst and his upset in that moment. This is a guy that has already missed such a large part of this season, and he wants and knows he should be deciding the biggest games and the biggest moments. Yeah. And he's already put in probably one of the best corner kicks I have ever seen. Like, it's unbelievable.
Even bounces in the right place.
It's perfect. Like, that set piece is absolutely perfect. And there's nothing Liverpool can do about it. Like, that is straight off the training ground. They've picked the moment to pull it off. They've got everyone in the exact positions, and they've done it. Amazing. And KDB is the guy behind it. But
the ball didn't even go out of play, which is amazing when you look at knowing it was a right-footed shot or hit from De Bruyne. And from where it lands, you expect it to go out and come back in with that sort of pass. And he curls it a tiny bit, but not enough to go over the line. It was perfect.
Yeah, that's a good point. I actually thought Stones would hit the side netting at first. I didn't think it was a goal. I thought, why are they cheering? It's not gone in.
Yeah. And half the ground, obviously it was the away fans, but it wasn't, on TV, you didn't hear the crowd. It was just, you heard the commentary and you're like, have they got that wrong?
I was like, is it? Is it? And it's only because Stones carries on celebrating, and I know, like, well, he must be able to see if the ball's in the net right now. So yeah, that was a pretty good moment. But yeah, KDB, I expect to be fueled by that moment. Like, I've seen a few people be like, "Oh, is this a bit of like aggro now? They're going to butt heads," and I'm like, "No." Do you know what happens? Is that De Bruyne goes on to destroy Newcastle or Arsenal, or both.
He does start though, doesn't he? He's not going to be disciplined by Pep, is he, for that? I mean,
no,
the fact Pep went over to him as well, like that, it's fine.
Yeah, Pep spoke about it well. He's like, I want him to be upset. Like, let's be honest, De Bruyne didn't have one of his best games. He did have the key moment, but he didn't have an amazing game. So it's part and parcel. A lot of people in the chat right now are talking about Kudus. So let's just take it away from Man City for a minute.
FPL fella was there and he says about the assists. So yeah, we got to talk about Kudus for sure. And fella's adding some good stuff in the chat. He does say this is going to be the only content he watches all week. And as soon as we get to the free hit chat, he's switching off. Probably, and the reason fella said that, and we are going to talk free hit today, of course we are. But the reason he said that is the free hit is sort of picking itself for 8-9 players of it, which is why it's becoming a little bit boring. But we'll talk about the 4 games and players we like, and then we'll put together like a rough draft for you as well.
I'm going to say I did actually do mine last night in bed. I couldn't sleep last night, and I was just like, I'm going to mess around with my team. Like, I'm definitely doing a free hit, obviously. Like, I had a quick look, actually. I had 2 players available this week. So I did it, and then I thought, shall I check this with what other people are doing? And so I did. Mate, it was literally
template.
So template. I was actually surprised because I thought a couple of them, I thought, you know what? I don't think anyone else would do this one. And everyone did. We'll talk about it later on, but I couldn't believe that, like, even trying to do it off my own back before we've even talked about it here. Because I wanted it to be like, you know how I keep being like, I'm not playing my own game. I keep getting guided. So it's like, I need to do this before we get to the show, and I knew that we'd be talking about it today. So I made a point of activating it, starting to go through it. And yeah, it's just not there. But on Kudus, there's a lot of people. He is spoiler. He is actually one of the guys going to be in my free hit.
He's a differential because everyone's going to have
Bowen. The only one. Yeah, he's one of the 2 that actually does seem to be a differential. But yeah, a lot of people obviously disappointed by not getting the points for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. FPL assists are different, and they just are. By the way, I've seen Neil's in the chat, one of our regulars, who's also a former world snooker champion. Neil Robertson says, it was Van Dijk bias as usual. Oh, yeah, actually, we've got a couple of comments. But the first one he made, I think he mentions it was, and I'm with him, he backed off, praying Haaland would scuff his shot, which he did. Thiago Silva or JT are nicking the ball all day long. I mean, I'm kind of with you there, Neil. I mean, Thiago might be left behind for pace, but Terry's nicking the ball. Terry's nicking the ball early before he gets in the box. I tell you that. I'm convinced of it.
It'd be good to hear a defender talking about this. I don't know who they've got on Monday Night Football tonight, but you'd imagine Carragher at the very least will be like analysing that moment. I'm not sure Jamie Carragher would be able to do much in that situation, but at least he's got a brain that can properly relate to that. Jamie Carragher, by the way, he's got an unbelievable brain for football. I don't know if you ever watched Stick to Football with Gary Neville. And
I watched the one with Ollie the other day.
Yeah, so that was a good one. But so he's obviously, they do that show regularly. Jamie Carragher has the most unbelievable memory for moments in football. He'll be mid-conversation and just pluck out, be like, oh, do you remember in 2015 when blah, 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 blah. What? How did you remember that game? Like, I could do that from when I was a kid, but I can't do it from like 3 weeks ago. I couldn't tell you like who Fulham beat 3 weeks ago. But yeah, keep an eye. Now, since I spotted that, I'm like, Jamie Carragher, just like elite knowledge.
Yeah, he is good. He is good, although I can't forget him gobbing on a child, but we'll move on from that one.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, I know. We all did. Where were we? There's loads of gold in the chat. I'm just reading through. Gianni playing with Duplo on his billiards table. Not quite, but yeah, kind of. These blocks are actually it's not Duplo. But I don't know if we want to go there. It's a complete sidetrack. But these are from insights and they're personality blocks. So as a personality profile, each and every one of us has, we're dominant in one of the 4 colours. If anyone's ever looked at that, I can go into detail of what the colours are, but I'll leave you to do it another time, maybe, guys in the chat.
Very good.
Ian Wright is on Monday Night Football tonight. Yeah, another one of Neville's crew. I think he's stepping away from Match of the Day this season or that. So maybe Sky are looking at him more and more, which would be interesting. By the way, Neil Robertson, do check out, Neil tweeted it, him and Stephen Hendry on Stephen Hendry's YouTube channel did a show which dropped last night at 5 p.m. It is magnificent. Go and watch it. Even if you're not massively into snooker, I think you'll enjoy the chat between Hendry and our boy in the chat as well. Okay. So yeah, go check it out. It's good to see snooker players venture into the YouTube space as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, YouTube's a great space for snooker, I think, because the more you get in, the more that you're like able to access a sport like snooker, I feel like you're just going to get more into it. Like traditionally, it's on BBC Two in the middle of the day when you're at work or you're at school, and it's really hard to follow. But I think the YouTube world should make that actually a lot easier. So yeah, I'll definitely give that a check myself. A few people are asking me about Fulham and Muniz.
Yeah, they are one of the 8 teams. One of the 8 teams playing.
Guess how many Fulham players in my free hit draft?
0. I wonder if Iwobi might sneak. Let's talk Fulham.
Yeah, I mean,
wonder if Iwobi might sneak in.
It's a first draft, but I avoided Fulham. I was like, I need to get towards the game to see whether I bring in any of our boys, but Muniz won't be in it. Somebody's asked specifically about Muniz. Will he start? Michael Taylor asked right now, what's Dean's opinion on Muniz, the 3rd striker over Morris? And somebody else asked it a bit earlier. I just think that at some point, Brozier's going to start a game.
Came on and looked all right, didn't he?
He did, and he helped make the goal.
Got an assist, I think.
He looks all right. He looks all right when he's coming in. He's only getting 10, 15 minutes. So the terms of Brozier's transfer to Fulham means that if Fulham pay a £500,000 loan fee if Brozier starts 10 games, right? Well, Brozier hasn't started any games, and we've got 10 games left.
Oh.
So...
Oh.
And Muniz didn't play that well at the weekend. It's the first time really that he would be like, okay, Brozier starts this one. So I'm wondering, given that this is a chance for Fulham, because if he doesn't start 10 games, they'll end up stumping up about £4 million for him as a loan fee, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, so say Brozier starts the next one against Tottenham, that's the first of his 10. And then if he does well, keep starting, that fee comes down. Now, obviously, Fulham aren't that bothered about this because Muniz is their player. They would rather he is the one that excels in this situation. But it does make me wonder. Knowing
you're safe.
We're safe. We're playing Tottenham. It's a big game. It's a 5:30 game, actually. It's the Sky game at the weekend.
There's no early kickoff, is there? Yeah.
I think Brozier could be a good pick here. Muniz, you could be like, put him on the bench, make him a bit angry too. If Brozier's not doing well, bring him on. And he could well score the winner or something.
It's going to be subbed on after 10 minutes every time. They're going to start Brozier just for the first 10 minutes of every game and then kick him off. I mean, he's on my watch list. I've done a watch list of 20 players, and my free hit will be from this 20 players, right? Yeah. On there, I put 3 Fulham players, and at the moment, I don't have a single Fulham player in my 15, but I do have 3 on my watch list. I've gone for one defender just because I think they've got a chance of a clean sheet. I don't think they'll get one.
Robinson. You get Robinson, yeah.
I've got one midfielder who isn't Harry Wilson, which everyone in the chat is saying. Guys, let me tell you, Dean can give way more insight on this. Wilson is not a first 11 player. Never has been, unless there's injuries. When there's been injuries and he's come in and done well, he's kept his spot, sure, like the last month. However, their best player this season, or one of them, has been Willian. Willian is now back and came on for Wilson at the weekend. Knowing they played poorly at the weekend, I think Wilson could be dropped and Willian starts. Dean, what do you reckon? So Willian's my midfielder on my watch list.
Willian is, yeah. Willian only got half hour here, but he's our best player. Like Willian is, he's one of the best players I've ever seen at Fulham in my life, to be honest.
He's amazing.
And there's that thing he has with Tottenham as well, isn't there? Because he was supposed to
Harry
join
Redknapp
them.
had him in a hotel.
Yeah. So there's that element to it. Harry Wilson did not have a good match at the weekend.
Was hooked.
I mean, the miss, when he goes 1-on-1, he should take it with his right foot. As usual, tries to use his left foot and sticks it wide. Yeah, that wasn't a good finish. Wilson has been good for the last month, to be fair to him. But knowing that Willian has been capable of playing half hour against Wolves, and we've got another week till we play Tottenham at home, be amazed if we didn't play him. Adama Traore was actually the guy that came on for Harry Wilson at the weekend. Willian came on for Andreas Pereira around the same time. Yeah. But Adama's been doing pretty well as well. So there's a lot of competition in those wide areas. Alex Iwobi absolutely guaranteed to start. Like Iwobi and Pereira definitely start. And then it's Muniz or Brozier that will play up front for Fulham. And then there's one more spot, which is Harry Wilson or Willian or Adama. And yeah, I'd be surprised if it's Harry Wilson against Tottenham, to be honest. Bobby Reid as well, actually. He often starts. So there's too much there for me to suggest that you start with Harry Wilson in your FPL team. We've also got Raul Jimenez coming back. Don't know if he's available at the weekend. I don't think he will quite be ready yet.
International break comes at a good time for that, doesn't it? It's like, save him and he'll be fine.
I think Raul will be a few more weeks, but he is back in training, yeah. Palhinha was on the bench too at the weekend for Fulham, so that was a bit strange. But he will also be starting against Tottenham. That's a tough one. Like, we're not going to keep a clean sheet, I don't think. Like, I think the one thing we can be sure of is Tottenham do score a goal here. But I fancy us to score. Like, I do.
I do. That's why I'm reluctant on Spurs defenders. I mean, I'm going to go for one just because of a bit of upside, like Pedro Porro, probably, and then two Spurs attackers. But
yeah,
I definitely, because you always say Fulham never get battered at the Cottage.
Don't.
Like, and it's a fair point. Like, they just don't, do they?
Not really. No, there's been a couple in recent times. I mean, Newcastle saw us off quite convincingly. Chelsea, you only beat us 2-0, but we were never in that game at all when you beat us this season. So there's been a few where we haven't really done ourselves justice, but it's pretty rare that we have a home match and we are just like completely not in the game. Burnley beat us 2-0. That was a disappointment, but it wasn't like we couldn't have got back into that game or anything like that. So, yeah.
I mean, you could say the same for Villa, couldn't you? They never get battered at home, and Spurs did just go and score 4. So maybe you're getting off.
I mean, there was issues there. I mean, Unai Emery's overcomplicating things. They were down to 10 men. Fulham did draw with Tottenham already this season, beat them on penalties. It was back in start of the season in the FL Cup, but we have already done that this season as well. So you never know, mate. You never know. We've beaten Arsenal at home. We could be the kingmakers, actually, because we've also got Liverpool and Man City to play at home this season. And there at times, like, I don't think we beat Man City, but we've come close with Liverpool this season. I can see us potentially getting something of them. So let's keep an eye out for that. Nandish says, who would you guys buy as your second Spurs midfielder? That's a good question.
Yeah, let's talk Spurs then, because I think everyone's going to have Porro and Son on a free hit. And by the way, CH says, can we do a poll? Absolutely, we can, CH. We'll get that organised. Are you free hitting this week? Yes or no? I reckon it'll be about 50-60% yes. Second Spurs midfield. I mean, you got, outside of Son, I think you've got 2 legit options. No, 3. I'm going to go 3. Maddison will be the popular choice. And the press conference post-match from Ange Postecoglou saying he needs to get further forward is just brilliant to hear for FPL. Yes, please. Yeah. But then it's Kulu and Brennan. Like, I think that same 11 starts, right? It would be Ange. We're all surprised to see Brennan starting over Werner, but knowing he got a start and they won 4-0 and he played well, I expect Johnson to play again. So Johnson would be completely rogue. Now, team money doesn't matter because we've all got endless budget for this free hit. So the fact that Brennan Johnson's 5.8 million or whatever doesn't actually help us. So if I was punting, would I go Brennan or Kulu? I'd go Kulu because Kulu will more likely play 90. He's absolutely going to start. Brennan's probably 70, 80% likely. Kulu is a favourite of Postecoglou. He rarely misses a game. But for me, it's Maddison Son, and I can't see past it.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken Maddison at this stage as my other Spurs midfielder. Yeah, I've got 3 Spurs players, and Maddison comes in beyond the 2 that I have every week. I think that it was really interesting the way that Maddison got that goal, I thought, at Aston Villa, like a lung-bursting run and then a really good finish, really. Like, it's not the sort of finish you would typically have expected from him. I saw an interview with him last week where he was talking about the responsibilities that he feels at Tottenham now. He's only 27, but he said he feels quite old. They've got a lot of... He was sat next to Van der Ven doing the interview, and he's like, I've got lads like him coming in and I feel old, but that's kind of where I am at now in my football career. And I actually am relishing that. And I want to lead by example and take on more responsibilities. And I do trust him now. I think Maddison has taken his game to another level whereby you can expect a lot from him. And looking at his fixture, obviously I'm going to be on the other end of it, and not looking forward really to seeing Maddison trying to find Son. Like, that is something I'm really not looking forward to. Like, those passes that he can pick out, and also the fact that he's going to be lurking around for bits and pieces on the edge of the box to stick past us. It is going to be a difficult game, and Maddison strikes fear into me. Kulusevski and Johnson don't anywhere near as much.
No.
This is how I often judge games. Like, how am I going to be feeling when I'm watching this game? Who's the ones? And obviously they can, like the trickery, like they can go down and win a pen, they could turn someone inside out. I get it. But Madders, he's just a standout candidate to pick, I think, for your free hit.
Yeah, I think so. There is a conversation to be had over the defender. And I've said Porro, but when I watch Spurs play in the last 2-3 months, Udogie for me catches the eye. The problem with Porro is, the reason why I'm more likely to go Porro is he's a little bit more creative. Udogie comes, I think, with higher goal threat. I haven't checked any of these numbers out, and I absolutely will be doing it this week. And it will be maybe based on numbers. I bet the XG for Udogie is considerably higher than Porro, and I bet the XA for Porro is considerably higher. Now, what's more likely? A goal or an assist from your defender? An assist, clearly, right? So I guess that's why I go Porro. Can someone tell me in the chat, maybe Chai knows, Spurs fan, at the weekend, the set pieces, were they split between Maddison or Porro? Or I actually watched the game, so I don't know how I don't know this. And I definitely saw Maddison on some set pieces, but did Porro take any of the set pieces? I want to know that, because that matters. That matters massively, the set pieces, for the creativity. Romero isn't the one, Shashank, for me. I know he's a bonus point magnet, and yes, he could pop up with a goal, but predicting goals are so much harder for defenders than predicting open play assists, and he will get... There's a very good chance he gets booked. BPS is also better for Porro, as we saw at the weekend. Says Chai. Yeah, I mean, he got a bonus point.
Yeah,
they were took. Porro took corners, says Neil. Good spot. Yeah. So with Porro on some set pieces, it has to be him.
Has to be. Yeah, I agree with that. But it's tough. Yeah, Neil said they were split. Porro took some corners. FPL fella, if all fit, it's Porro, Son, Richarlison. Richarlison isn't going to be fit, is he?
No.
He's just not going to be the pick here. Which is probably good news for me. And Fulham, British says Son took a few corners.
Yeah.
It's funny. I watched this game too, and I don't recall any of this. What I do remember about Romero in this game is just remembering how good he is. I'm not talking about from an FPL point. He is a brick wall, mate. He is so good.
Messi Romero says he's the best.
He is absolutely different class. He really is. Him and Van der Ven are just a hell of a partnership. Tottenham are really onto a good thing here with these two. I think Tottenham are now going to finish top 4. I really feel like the momentum and the style and the confidence of this team is going to leave them above Aston Villa and taking that last Champions League spot. Right, Michael Taylor says, what do you guys think of Visser and Tony, or would you just go Tony? can't decide on 3-5-2 or 3-4-3.
It's absolutely Tony. Forget who scored in the last couple of weeks. If you're choosing between one, it's clearly Tony, and he's on pens. And like Tony could have scored against Arsenal from 45 yards, and everyone would be going, "Is he a captain choice this week?" The fact that Ramsdale makes a worldy save shouldn't actually affect your thinking. Tony still hits that ball, and it's going top bins, right? I like Visser as a punt if you wanted to go in addition to Tony, but I do feel there are better options and he is high risk in the respect that Visser isn't now to start. I think he will, but Thomas Frank sets his team up for the opposition. And if he believes Mopé is a better choice that week, he may go with him. He's not absolutely nailed. He also, depending on game state, Visser's very likely to come off early. So bear all that in mind. I genuinely think Tony is a legit captaincy option this week. If I wasn't going Son, I would be going Tony. And actually, in a way, for free hitters, the only way non-free hitters were going to beat us this week were if they went for a differential captain like a Watkins or a Tony and they banged and the template captain like Son blanked. We are fortunate for us lot on free hit that there's going to be very few people going against the template captain now. The world and their dog are going to captain Son because of what he did at the weekend.
Yeah, that's true. Mark says, "Where is Aston Villa Bosley today?" That's a good point. The one show we actually need this guy to really fill us all in on what we're going to get from Villa reaction. I mean, I said there, I don't think they'll make the top four. That McGinn red card, that's a 3-game suspension. That's quite telling. They've obviously got West Ham away at the weekend. They play Man City within that run as well. I think away as well. This could really be a massive moment for Aston Villa in their season. So that will be interesting. British says, "I sold Tony." Mark says, "I'm captaining Tony."
Love that. I actually like that shout very much.
Do you?
I'm tempted. I don't think the ceiling is that. The ceiling's always high for Son. I don't think Fulham away is a good Son fixture. We all knew Aston Villa away was a good Son fixture with their high line, with Villa probably having a good go. It's not a foregone conclusion that I do captain Son. Burnley are there to be beaten up week on week. Burnley's defensive numbers are ridiculously bad. I've ranked the defenses over the last 6 game weeks. I was doing some research this morning. From the last 6 game weeks, the expected goals conceded from the 8 teams playing, Forest actually have the best expected defensive record, followed by Spurs, Fulham, Villa, Brentford, West Ham. Bottom 2, Burnley, Luton, as you'd expect. They are there for the taking every week. And actually at home, Burnley are so bad because they actually have a really good go. I mean, they have a go against anyone, but at home, they really come out and play. Tony's gonna bang. Put money on it.
Yeah, he's so confident, Tony. And I think that's what I'm loving the most about him since he came back from his ban. I've obviously watching him closer than ever because I'm expecting him to make a transfer. So from the other side of my job, I need to know how likely that is. And you're right, playing against Burnley is something that could be a big moment for him. By the way, Son has only ever scored 1 goal against Fulham. I think that was the last time we played against him as well. He's played 7 times against Fulham, and he's only got 1 goal, even though they've beaten us 5 times. So not saying that counts for loads, but yeah, Kareem says the sun doesn't shine at Craven Cottage. Correct me, Dean, if I'm wrong. No, you're right. Typically, Son doesn't score against us. Now, it could mean absolutely nothing for this weekend, but sometimes these trends carry on and we get lucky.
Yeah, we often look at captaincy. We look at FPL in general, same as who we bring in each week. We look at last week's points and we look at the week before that. And Tony's been really quiet. And because Tony's been quiet, in terms of outcome, no one's looking at him for captaincy. Not really. Very few will go there or even think about going there because they'll go, he hasn't scored in the last couple of weeks. Therefore, why would I captain him? Never mind the fact that he's had blanks. Use that to your advantage if you think he's been playing well. And I look at him against Arsenal and go, yeah, that hit alone from 45 yards. I'm like, yeah, he's captainable. You don't take that on unless you're playing well.
Penalties as well.
Pens as well. And he never misses them.
Doesn't miss them. And also, we've all done it this season where you jump on someone who's been hot the week before, like you say, and it's not really working for us. There's not that many really consistent players at the moment. I think of going into the last game week, we were such a dilemma: Foden or De Bruyne. Like, which one of these two do we have to have in our team? Neither of them turned up. Not really. De Bruyne ends up getting the extra points for the assist, but
and a cheeky bonus, which is amazing considering he lost half an hour of football. He didn't play 30 minutes that football match and still got the Brucey bonus.
Absolute. So an FPL point of view,
Magnet.
De Bruyne ended up being the guy, and did I do him against the obvious? Probably.
Yeah.
All but I still had him in my team.
You didn't say he was bad. You were more just saying how much better Foden is, which is fair. Foden hit the button. Lucky, but Foden's still a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people saying Foden ghosts in big games, and that's going to become something he's got to overturn. He's got to stop. He's got to silence those doubters, because I don't believe that he's that guy. But yeah, still a lot to do. Oxlane says Willian loves a goal against Spurs, even going back to his Chelsea days. Yeah, we spoke about that earlier. We do think that if you're looking at Fulham assets, Willian will be a place to go. Back fit again now. I've got half hour off the bench at the weekend, and always looks like one of Fulham's best players. He's had a really good season again for us. Lyle says surely Tony Captain is going to be popular. I still think you're not giving it enough credit.
Let's do a poll. Let's do a captaincy poll. I bet 80% are going Son.
Yeah, I think they will be too. Yeah, but it is worth a poll. And Tony might be the better choice. He really might be the better choice. Let's see what else we've.
Actually, says Dean as well, by the way. Some will go Watkins. West Ham aren't good. Like, West Ham just conceded 2 to Burnley. West Ham are not good. Like, fella, let us know in the chat. I mean, you've said a few things in the stream. I've noticed around West Ham haven't and should have scored more. I completely get that, and therefore Tony's a good choice. But West Ham defensively, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Villa without McGinn, though, are massively weakened, and therefore we should call it on our Villa assets. Maybe Watkins is enough. At the moment, I was looking at Bailey, Watkins, and Moreno. But maybe with McGinn out, I don't want to commit to triple Villa. Let's talk about them, Dean. What do you think? Because every time they've lost this season, they pretty much come and bounce back straight away. Like, they've had a few weird results where they out of nowhere they've lost a game or been convincingly beaten, and then the next week they're brilliant. I think they went to Nottingham Forest and lost, and then they went and beat like Arsenal or Man City. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing to bear in mind, and I don't know why this is, but it's actually their Villa Park form that has actually fallen off a cliff a little bit. They've obviously, at the weekend lost 4-0 there. Man United went there last month and won 2-1. Chelsea went there and won 3-1 last month. A bit before that, Newcastle went to Villa Park and won 3-1. I'm just going to quickly scroll through I'm trying to remember when Villa last lost
Are they better away then?
I think they're better away when it comes to their last away defeat was at Old Trafford. When was this? If I can get the date up. 26th of December. Oh, yeah. Boxing Day. Yeah. Man United beat Aston Villa 3-2. Remember that game? It was a good one. So that was their last away defeat. And then before that, Nottingham Forest. And that game was 5th of November. So pretty good on the road. I don't know what the reasoning would be for that.
Counter-attack suiting Emery a little bit more than having the ball, and away from home you're more likely to counter.
Emery does mess around a little bit with his tactics, doesn't he?
He went back 5 yesterday.
I don't know why he keeps alternating. Why is he alternating between this? I saw a few Villa fans complaining about it. It's like, obviously, like, they generally love Unai Emery right now. I also watched an analyst. I can't remember who it was. It was on ESPN.
Danny Jameson on TNT, was it? With it last week?
No, it was on ESPN yesterday. It was just like a YouTube video, and it was just someone slating Unai Emery, just being like, this guy is not made for a big club because he's not consistent enough in his decisions and his thinking, and he overcomplicates things. Okay. And as soon as things get good, they start to turn back the other way whenever he's here. Now, I think it was a bit harsh what he was saying, but I was like, well, I might have a point. Like, maybe Unai Emery this is as big as it gets for him. But Nandish says, this is what Emery does. I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get away from that. Sorty Time says, Villa have gained 31 points at home, 24 points away from home. Yeah, I was more looking at the defeats, really. But I guess for us, it's just trusting them, isn't it? And they squeezed past Luton recently at Kenilworth Road. They came to Fulham. They beat us, to be fair. But they're still a good team, aren't they? And this is the thing, like, Aston Villa aren't going to fall away that far. So it's not a case where you're suddenly going to ditch all your Villa assets.
No, but can you go double Villa attack for West Ham away? Both teams, annoyingly, both teams play on Thursday night. I would love to target a team by going this game week by going, oh, I'm going to buy Fulham players because Spurs play Thursday night, and I think they're going to be tired because they've got a trip to Athens. Like, we don't have that from the 8 teams. The only 2 involved in Europe are playing on Thursday. Are playing each other.
Yeah.
And then the attractive second Villa attacker is Bailey, but Bailey isn't nailed. Like, if Bailey has a bad game in the week or even plays in the week, you could go 3 in a week. He's going to give Diaby a game. In a way, I want Bailey to be rested and Diaby to play badly. Douglas Luiz is the safe bet. Fellas going Douglas Luiz. I mean, I don't know.
It's tough. Look, that West Ham, I'm just trying to looking back at the West Ham team that played yesterday against Burnley. I mean, Mavropanos was poor. Aguirre didn't have one of his better games. Calvin Phillips started and was poor again. Like, defensively, this side aren't that reliable at the moment. When you watch them, like, going forward, they still always look good. And you look at their options: Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, and then around them, Ward-Prowse and Souček that can weigh in. Fine. Areola can still be getting you points in goal. Defensively, I definitely think that this is a vulnerable team still, and they're going to continue to be that. So I think that you can continue to trust Aston Villa attacking targets for this game. Rich says, I'm sticking with the Bailey-Watkins combo. The Arby's form has gone for now. I think that's probably a safe place to be. I think you're on the right side of that.
Yeah, I mean, Leon Bailey, just looking at the average position map, so it's not going to show you. Leon Bailey played alongside Watkins yesterday. It was very much a front 2, central. Douglas Luiz away, because it was a back 5 as expected. Douglas Luiz was like a third centre back. He was so deep. If you're buying Douglas Luiz, you're hoping for a penalty. Without McGinn as well, defensively, like, let's say Ramsey comes in and plays central, Douglas Luiz is going to play as a DM without.
Well,
McGinn.
This is what's funny though, because I am at the moment, Douglas Luiz is in my free hit team.
Yeah, he's in a load of them.
It's because of pen value. It literally is just pen value. And you're like, well, they're playing West Ham, a clumsy team at the moment, a team that, like, are neither here nor there. You don't know what you're getting from them week on week. So a week like this, I feel like if you can get as many penalty takers or set piece takers into your team as you can, you're giving yourself just a bit more of a chance of returns.
What's the ratio of pens awarded at home versus pens awarded away from home? This is without knowing any information and Danny just being top line. But I bet it's something like 70% of the league's pens get awarded at home.
Probably
so
is.
If Douglas Luiz was playing at home, maybe I might pick the West Ham penalty taker, which is Bowen on pens? I don't even know. Who's on pens for West Ham, fella? It's not Paqueta, is it? Don't know.
Is it Ward-Prowse? Don't know.
No, I'll tell you what, Ward-Prowse, who has been on pens at Southampton and stuff, he's actually shocking at pens and really good at free kicks. Ward-Prowse's penalty record is something, I bet his conversions like...
I just thought I could remember him taking one.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think he has.
Yeah, I've just got in my head, he hasn't scored that many goals for West Ham, but I seem to remember him sticking one away. But yeah, Paqueta or Ward-Prowse.
Oh, he's missed 6 of 20.
Really? Yeah. Of course, there's West Ham a joint first for giving away penalties this season, joint with Everton. That's an interesting stat.
You called him clumsy.
I like it. That does not surprise me at all. Those two teams are just blunders united. You just cannot trust either of them. JWP not missed a pen for West Ham. Yeah, I remember him scoring, not missing. Mark says it was while Paqueta was out injured. So Paqueta probably is West Ham's pen taker. At the moment, I haven't got Paqueta in my team. I've got Kudus instead.
Yeah, good call.
You think?
Paqueta's amazing, but goal involvements have always been... I mean, recently, they've been there, but historically, Paqueta's not been a goal and assist beast, and Kudus, before AFCON, was scoring every week.
Yeah, I just love watching him as well. And I just feel like there's always that moment in him. And I just like to, when you're watching games, I mean, let's be honest, this is a pretty slow game week, isn't it? And there's not much to get behind and watch. But if I'm going to be watching that match on Sunday, which I will be, I want some assets that are going to give me hope of returns, and I feel like Kudus is going to give me that.
When we go through the fixtures then, because look, guys, do hit that like button. I've not asked you a lot to like today, and because I haven't asked for it, you haven't hit it. So please hit the buttons. And look, loads of the lurkers out there. Come join the chasers by hitting that subscribe button.
Yeah, breaking news. We're not coming back next season unless we get all of you liking every stream. I might have just made that up on the spur of the moment. I might not.
Mate, on Saturday, I did this. I was streaming live on my channel, and I blackmailed the audience to subscribing to my channel, and it worked. I got something like 20 subs by just blackmailing them. And I felt really guilty, but a few of them, after I did this gimmick, unsubscribed. they subscribed to do what I asked them to do. Pretty much, I was going to give away 5 channel memberships, and I said, I'll give away 5 memberships if 20 of you subscribe. Straight away, people subscribed. I gave away the memberships, then a few of them unsubscribed. It was hilarious.
I mean, it's quite a lot of effort to go to then go and unsubscribe. I don't really see what the point of that is. I think I've told you, like, my YouTube at the moment is a complete mess because Dylan, my 6-year-old, has started going on YouTube, and he watches like some YouTube shorts, and in all these videos, they're like, what's better, the red prime or the blue prime? Click like for red or subscribe for blue. So he's subscribing to all these random channels, and I'm like, finding the stuff I like on YouTube now is like nearly impossible. I'm properly having to search it out. Very annoying, but those guys have got it absolutely nailed when it comes to making sure their subscriptions are high, because all these kids are just like bashing the buttons on their parents' phones. Maybe it's just bad parenting. He shouldn't be allowed my phone, but it gives me some peace of quiet.
I hear you. So the 8 teams in action, and look, Wednesday's show will be a little bit different. It'll be me and Big Man Backer, and we'll have a little bit of a different angle to talking about the 8 teams. Friday's show again, we'll be talking about the 8 teams, but with a different angle, and it'll be about showing our teams and answering your questions. So for today's show, there's still a good 10 to discuss. Some of the teams we've not mentioned. Burnley play Brentford. I don't think we're going to waste a huge amount of time on Burnley. Unless you want to punt on Fofana. I don't know. Or maybe Trafford, because he's going to be busy. Again, when we look at these 8 teams, how many are going to keep a clean sheet? Like, it's so hard to predict a single clean sheet from these 8 teams. Spurs, I think Fulham score. Villa, I think West Ham score. It's so difficult. So when you're picking defenders, sure, you pick ones with upside. When you're picking goalkeepers, you probably, rather than go for the one with the best clean sheet odds, you probably go for the busy one who's going to get save points, maybe bonus. Like Kaminsky is going to be busy because he always is. Trafford is going to be busy because he always is. Maybe that's where you go.
I've got Kaminsky at the moment. Right, there's a few coming in that are a bit more admin than anything else. FPL fella hasn't forgotten that he's getting me a crate of KSI Flavor Prime if he beats KSI. Mate, no pressure, but I have mentioned this to Dylan now, and his face when I told him, yeah, you are one of his favorite people in the world now, FPL fella, and there's a lot of pressure on you to deliver here, because I'm not letting him pay like £40 a bottle, whatever it is, on Amazon at the moment. Of course, there's Dean, red or blue prime. Blue prime is actually quite nice. It's like this blue raspberry flavor or something. I do like the blue prime. What else have we got? Jamie wants to be a mod, so I'll leave that to somebody else to sort out. That's not to me.
I'm sure we'll take you up on that, though.
Yeah, we can have more than one mod, can't we?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you and CH you have to make friends with it. You can't say I think I'm better than CH, and then you're not having the job. I was going to share it out there, but as soon as you've confronted her within seconds of starting this,
no one's better than CH either, so that'd be impossible. But you can definitely join the team, Jamie.
And CH has just given me a tip on how to create a folder for my YouTube subscriptions, which I'm actually going to be looking into in about an hour's time. So thanks for the CH. Thanks, Jamie, for your vote of confidence. By the way, who are you? Yeah, very good. Mark says Fofana looks good. Isn't he on loan from Chelsea?
Yeah, he's one of the 24 teenagers we bought last year and decided not to integrate into the first team. Or we did, and then realised he weren't actually that good. I personally don't rate him, but I haven't seen enough of him. I mean, his goals in Scandi were all right, but standard.
Yeah.
I mean, Company likes him, clearly. He's got a few options up front, Company. He does tend to play him every week.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie says it's constant. I think what Jamie's saying here is that we're getting more bot comments than ever, and he wants to help.
I have noticed that.
I mean, we have for the last three weeks or so, we have started getting hit more every show. So I think that's what he's trying to say. But CH is doing a great job on trying to keep them at bay. But maybe we do need more mods. We need people looking out from every direction here, from the castle in which we live, and keeping these enemies away, because this is a very clean, safe, and fun community to be part of. So yeah, let's see. CH, you're doing a great job. Don't worry about that at all. Spammers are sadly part and parcel that seem to be growing in YouTube right now, and they need to fix it, because it's clearly just bot ones as well.
Fella, by the way, will honour that bet. If I know Fella, he will be honouring your bet. So you can let Dylan know to get excited, I think, mate. We forgot to do bonus beasts.
Oh, go on. How many have you got?
Bonus beast. We've only got one. Let's do a bonus beast. Let's do a bonus beast. Yeah, we spoke about De Bruyne earlier, by the way, who snuck a bonus. I'm not going to show you Son and players like that, because you know who gets bonus. But every week, I like to bring a couple of differential bonus beasts to the table. Those that have clocked 3 bonus, and you go, oh, yeah, he's actually playing really well. Now, when we all redo our teams in 30-31, whether you're wildcarding or just looking at free transfers, everyone's going to want double Arsenal defence from Luton onwards, I think. They're the best defence in the league by country mile. It's always been Gabriel, Saliba, blah, blah, blah. But Ben White is racking up some assists. And look at this average position map. Hello, especially when Kivior plays left back, because he's a bit more defensively minded than, say, Zinchenko, who comes into midfield. Ben White gets a little bit more license. Now, the end of last season, we saw Ben White getting loads of assists, and we're seeing it again. And I wonder if he's better come spring. I don't know. Ben White and his very white teeth and very orange tan is clocking good assists. And I like him as an FPL asset.
Yeah. I've thought this actually when watching Arsenal. I haven't looked as deep as this into it, but it's very noticeable how advanced he's getting, how much license he's being given, and how consistent he is in playing. So I like this. I think Ben White is somebody to look out for.
Yeah.
Don't know if I'd take him for the next game, because they got Man City next.
Yeah. I might take him instead of Saliba, though. I own Gabriel, and in 30 or 31-32, I'll probably be buying an Arsenal defender. I might go Ben White over Saliba. Really might.
Top scoring defender in the game, according to Mark Nash.
Jesus, is he actually?
No, check that out, because that's
mental if he is.
That is. I guess it would make sense.
God, he is. He's got 5 more points. No, he's got 7 more points than Saliba. More than Trippier, more than Trent, Virgil, Cher, Pedro Porro.
So 11% owned, and he's the top scoring defender in the game.
He's got 7 attacking returns, 5 assists, 2 goals. You know, you put that against Saliba for attacking returns, who's done well. He's got 3, you know.
Yeah, that's good. A question that's been asked a lot, mate, and Andrew is the latest one to mention it, is how many players do you think you can get away with having in order to not take the free hit this week?
Honestly, like 7, 8 players would be absolutely fine. The key is that you cover the main bases. So don't have 7 Luton players. You can't. But, you know, have the players that could hurt you. So the players everyone's bringing in this week, go buy the same guys. Tony, Maddison. You've probably already got Son. Make sure you've got Watkins in place. As long as you have the key cogs, 7 is fine. Don't be wasting transfers this week on defenders either. Make sure you're buying attacking players that could really hurt your rank, because the defenders, genuinely, I look at those 4 fixtures, I can't call a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So you'll be using a transfer to bring in potentially, even if you're buying a Porro, like a 2-point guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let me just get this up a second. I just want to check something on White and his returns. Yeah, the last 2 were 11 points against Brentford. He got 13 points in that 6-0 win over Sheffield United. Only 2 points when they played Newcastle at home, which is how I'd probably weigh up what he's going to be doing against Man City. But then 6 points against Burnley, 9 points against West Ham. So in the last 5 game weeks, he really has been elevated in terms of the points scored across his actual rank. But definitely that's somebody to look out for, because once we get beyond that Man City fixture, we're into a bunch of games where Arsenal should do all right. Luton at home, Brighton away, Villa home, Wolves away, and then comes the North London derby, which is going to be one of the biggest games of the season at the end of April. So again, you're getting like a solid 4-game run of Ben White, where you probably are better with him than Saliba based on what we're currently getting in terms of returns. Off Court has just given us a couple of quid. Thank you very much, mate, for the super chat. It says 313 watching. Do drop a like and subscribe and a share. Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty good numbers for a Monday afternoon. So thanks everybody that is here right now. We really do appreciate you. And yeah, do give us a like. We're getting towards 100 now, so that's something. That's still only a third of you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Off Court. We love you for doing that. I tell you what, Off Court, make sure you're around on Wednesday because Big Man is going to be showing his first draft team. So we'll have a Big Man draft. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, there's a good stat there. There's a good point that was just made there from John, who says White gets subbed early, which is golden for clean sheets. So I'm just going to quickly, so I'm just going to quickly check out like when Ben White has been
not this season,
off.
John. I don't think, but last season we saw it quite a bit.
Yeah, it still does happen. I mean, and looking across, so Gameweek 28, he played the full 90 against Brentford. The week before against Sheffield United, he played 65 minutes. Gameweek 25 against Burnley, he played 69 minutes. West Ham, he played 77 minutes. A few weeks before that, Fulham, 67 minutes. So it does still happen. It does feel like if they're taking out a defender, Ben White is that guy. And quite often, you are actually better off there in terms of get clean sheets. So that is a good point. Thanks for pointing that out.
There we go. Yeah, I like that. Guys, apologies I didn't show you a free hit draft today. I definitely should have shown you a free hit draft. So we will definitely have that on Wednesday. And look, Friday's show will be lots of free hit drafts between me and Dean. We'll put together, well, probably our fairly locked in version. I can't imagine we'll change much between Friday and Saturday.
I don't think so. Shall I see if I can show mine on screen? Let me see. I don't have the... can we say this or not? There's my starting... so I've got Kaminsky in goal.
Yeah.
Then at the moment, I've got Doty, Rorslev, and Powell. Nice. And Rorslev was one of the ones that I thought, by the way, would be
he's on my bench. I've got him too.
It seems like everyone's actually got him. Then I've got Son, Maddison, Bowen, Kudus.
Yeah.
Watkins, Tony Morris, Louise, Murillo, and Porro on the bench right now.
Yeah, it's good. So the Luton assets like Morris will be really interesting to see how they get on Wednesday night because it is the extra fixture for Luton. So we might be like, oh, they're going to be tired, or does he look really good? And you go, I need him.
Yeah, but can you see what I mean now? Like that's a team that I picked before looking at anybody else's, before chatting about it, and yeah, I'd say of all those picks, 80% of them are just the same. The only ones that are different really are Kudus. Douglas Luiz is a bit different, but at the moment he's on my bench. I don't even know if he's going to play. I think that's it. Actually, I think that's actually it. Maybe Murillo, but
Rorslev, a few bench players, but
British says Rorsev's a good shout. Well, that's what I thought, mate. But it turns out he's going to be one of the most owned players in the game. But at the moment, he is 0.7% selected. Yeah, when I looked for a few free hit teams, he was in every single one.
Well, I've got him on the bench, and I'm like, if Reguilon doesn't play, I at least get him. At least then get Brentford defensive cover. I am still going to go Reguilon, who Frank says should be available. So Reguilon's offers maybe a little bit higher upside because he's got a bit more.
And FG's just frozen.
Kulusevski. We'll talk more about Kulu on Friday's show. But what I'd say about Kulu is, and I mentioned it earlier, Ange Postecoglou loves him. Like the guy's absolutely nailed. Like last 3 games, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. And this is games when we're seeing the likes of Son and Johnson coming off early. Well, Kulu just doesn't tend to. And we know he's got some quality in goal threat. 6 goals, 3 assists. He's got more points than Maddison this season, albeit he's played more minutes. So yeah. I like him. I like Kulu, and he would be my differential Spurs mid to go for over Werner who listed as a forward and Brennan.
Yeah. Of course, and I kept Lewis Potter all of this time for this game week. I hope it pays off, mate. I really hope it pays off. Yeah, G, we did. You froze for a second when you were talking. You froze again there for a second as well. But we're at the end of the show anyway, so it's probably just your Wi-Fi telling you it's too much streaming for you today, mate.
Yeah, I think I put a cap on. When I get to an hour, the Wi-Fi goes. It's like the caps you got with the children. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Big Man and I will be back. I can't remember what time we're doing on Wednesday, but I think we've agreed to move it to midday or maybe 12:30. I think we said midday UK time. So or was it 2 p.m.? Oh, Christ. Let me let you know before I go. Our producer's going to just write in the private chat what time we're streaming on Wednesday, so I can let you know. 12:30 UK time. There we go, guys. So half an hour earlier than normal, an hour earlier than today's show on Wednesday, me and Big Man. But me and Dean will be back, I think, midday on Friday. So look forward to that.
Yeah, very good.
Guys. For now, he's been Dean, I've been Jenny, and we've been chasing green arrows. See you later, team.